Hello everyone. Welcome to the second webinar of ours for Dynamics Project Service Introduction, presented on January 17th, 2017. This webinar will be presented by me, Ayan Bose, and of course my colleague Vandana Daya collectively. Today we would like to take you through the basic functionalities of Dynamics Project Services, which helps all project-based servicing organizations to create project and track all projects for their clients. The project services enables organizations to ensure proper cost and billing information is captured and proper invoicing is done to help identify the revenue of the organization from all the project-based opportunities they generate for themselves. Project service capabilities helps the project manager, the project team members, the resource managers, and the finance team being on top of the ongoing projects with quick analysis of project status and project estimation so as to ensure organizations are able to keep the costs lower and increase the profit margins. Today's webinar session would involve taking all our participants through a quick introduction about our organization, followed by a story around which this demonstration that we are going to show has been built up. We would then showcase a demonstration of the project services cycle, followed by an open session for question and answers from all our participants. Let me quickly introduce our organization to you. Dynamics Square is a Microsoft certified partner having operations in India, Australia, UK and US markets. Having experienced professionals across Dynamics Suite platforms of software solutions covering Dynamics 365, Dynamics CRM, AX, NAV and SharePoint, Dynamics Square in a short span of time has acquired more than 160 clients worldwide. With state-of-the-art IT infrastructure and flexible engagement model, plus 24/7 service support services makes us, Dynamics Square, a runaway success. Dynamics Square, so here is a list of all our valuable customer for whom we have implemented Dynamics Suite platform solutions. So if you can see, there are multiple companies who are into different kind of businesses that they run. So Dynamics Square, being a partner of Microsoft Dynamics Suite business, has completed multiple implementations in different domains. We have implemented Dynamics Suite for retailing companies like Southland Supply Group, Adelaide Marbles, who deal in landscaping projects. We also have implementation in companies who are into distributor network business and companies who are into service industry, for example, Koala Images for the World and KKR. So if you see, our clients list depicts the versatility of domains we have done implementations in. Coming to introduce the presenters of this webinar today. Well, I am Ayan Bose, who will be leading this webinar for you. I have an overall experience of about 20 years, out of which a substantial number of years I have been involved in CRM project implementations across industry domains. I have Vandana with me. Say hi, Vandana.
Hi, everyone.
Well, she is a functional consultant and is a Dynamics 365 specialist. She helps the team in solution mapping for our esteemed prospects as well as our clients. So let us quickly start off with our webinar. I'll hand over it to Vandana to take us through with the next few slides of this webinar.
Thanks, Ayan. So starting on with the project service automation, we must know that there are many complex challenges that customers face in managing billing projects for their client, and more often than ever, many organizations fail capturing the details of a project in a centralized database, which often leads to different copies of MS Project or MS Excel in regards to projects and are often not updated as they are dependent on individual inputs. The Microsoft Dynamics 365 Project Service provides state-of-art project service management solutions to address these and many challenges, such as other challenges also. Dynamics CRM Project Service Automation includes a point and click uh,
Work breakdowns.
Dynamics CRM Project Service Automation includes a point and click work breakdown structure, cost views, effort views, and different ways of grouping information by time frame, say project role, by phase, and etc. Additionally, the project solution offers project templates that shortcut the work involved with planning a new project altogether. Project services help project managers to create project codes and contracts, create and manage projects, and manage resource utilization, which being the main aspect after your business has won a contract. This will help your business forecast resource requirements when projects are in the pipeline. Moving on, being an integral part of Dynamics 365, Project Services is designed to help sales and delivery teams engage customers and deliver billable projects. This solution lives as a layer with Dynamics 365 and can be activated by Office 365 Administrator. Only users that need access to the solution need to be licensed for it. One, start with the buying a solution for Dynamics 365 project services by visiting the billing panel, which is present inside the admin portal, and can start using the application right away then and there. To go and start using the application, go to Dynamics 365, which we just saw on the last slide, and hover to the project service automation tile, as you can see on this slide. Starting on with project service automation helps you get super quick estimations, project creation, and defining teams to complete the projects. It enables the project teams to be aware of all the projects and its statuses. The project service estimation helps all account managers trying to win a contract make appropriate estimation for a contract, taking the help of a project manager using predefined project templates to the duration estimation. Project service automation enables the project managers to plan role-wise resources and send across the request to resource managers. Project service automation also helps all team members being on the same page about a project with internal posts, notes, and other MS tool integrations. Also, it helps in project team members to capture their task time entries and getting them approved by their project managers respectively. Project managers and resource managers are empowered with their project resource utilization as well as help project manager to do the tracking on track project estimates using inbuilt tools and dashboards, which we'll see in the demonstration part. So we have our storyline here wherein we have a few participants. They are part of the cycle that we are going to show you today. We would like to show how each participant acts as an important factor for different stages of a project service cycle. Our account manager who identifies the prospect for a billable project and does estimation for the same. Our project manager who manages the project, its resources, costs involved and project tracking. Our resource manager who manages the resource utilization and helps project managers in getting the right set of people for project team members. Our project team member who complete the task of the project and ensure proper details captured and passed on. Our finance manager member who tracks the costing, billing and invoices for a project. All around these key players of a project service cycle, our customers is always the key. So moving on to the day in the life of an account manager. Our account manager looking for a prospective client makes an approach to our customer's hair and captures his detail as a lead. Running through the sales cycle, our account manager converts the lead into an opportunity and then sends across the quote for the project with the help of estimation from our project manager. After winning the quote, our account creates a project contract and shares the same with our customer for reviewing it. As soon as the account manager is able to convince the customer to give the contract to our organization, project manager gets intimated by the account manager to start with the project.
So how does it look like in the day life of a project, a day in the life of a project manager once the project has been won? Our project manager then takes the step of creating a work breakdown structure. We will term it as WBS. And I'm sure all project managers across organizations would easily be able to relate to this term called WBS. For the project tasks, and identifies the role that fits best for the tasks. The project WBS was created from a pre-configured project template, then the life of a project manager becomes easier as he does not need to have to recreate the tasks one by one and the resources for the tasks, because everything is done by the project template that was used to create the work breakdown structure. The project manager then submits the resource requests to our resource manager, who would analyze the resource requirements and fulfill the requests which will identify the best fit individual who is currently available as per the availability of the project team members required as a team member for this project. Our resource manager, having access to all the resources, their skill sets, their proficiency levels for all the skill sets and availability of them, is able to find the best available resource for the tasks of the project and books the time for the resources against the tasks. So the resource manager has a resource availability dashboard for herself, which she will use to define which resource goes into which project. The resource manager uses the resource utilization dashboard that I just referred to keep a track of all the resources utilization across the tasks for all the projects in progress in the organization. Team collaboration. The whole project team, which includes the project manager and the project team members, once the whole project team has been defined, can collaborate amongst themselves using the different collaborating tools within the project so as to ensure the project team members are fully aware as to what is the status of the tasks and if some important decisions need discussion and quick turnaround. The tools like notes, posts, and integration with OneNote enables the project team members to have access to all the details of the project even if they do not have a project service automation license with them. Time and expenses. Now, normally time and expenses are captured by a project team member while completing the tasks that have been assigned to him or her for a project. Once that project tasks have been completed, they also have to capture their timesheet entries. Now, project service automation enables exactly that for a project team member. So the project team member are able to track all the tasks that have been assigned to them through the project service automation. They are not only able to keep a track, but are also able to define the status and completion percentage of the tasks, which I will show you when I am showing you the demonstration, which enables the project manager to keep a track of the tasks and, if required, enable his project team members in case of any aberrations identified in the project. The project team members capture their timesheets from within the project service automation solution and submit their expenses and time offs and timesheets for approvals to the project manager. The project manager, using his or her ID, would approve the timesheet entries, expenses and other approvals like skill approvals for projects. Once the timesheets approvals are done, the cost analysis on the project shows its real-time impact on project's cost consumption percentage as well as cost performance for the project. This also helps generate the actuals for the project, which would be further utilized for invoicing purposes. Moving on to customer billing. The finance team member then checks within the project to see the billing milestones of the project. He identifies any important details that need to be captured along with the project manager's help and uses the functionality called Create Invoice Schedule within the project contract payment milestones. This helps the finance team member as well as the project manager to generate the invoices for the project as per the project milestones. The approvals completed by the project manager ensures that the invoicing is accurate and does not need any unnecessary queries being raised by the client. Once the dates have been identified for which the payment milestones have reached, the finance member makes those lines as ready for invoicing. Using these lines, which are called ready for invoice lines, the finance member creates an invoice, recalculates the previously billed amount and current amount that is to be billed to the client. He then gets the invoice reviewed by the project manager. Once all is reviewed, the invoices is confirmed, changing the status of invoice to billed and is sent to the customer to pay up. Analytics. Our project manager, along with key personnel in the organization having access to project service automation, are empowered with quick analysis of projects, project costs, estimation and profitability. With access to numerous dashboards and analytics within the projects, all project managers can have an easy visualization of project status, profitability, cost performance, plus tracking of project estimates and project tracking to ensure decisions are made in an informed and timely manner.
So, I would request Ayan to showcase the story that we depicted in the previous slides on the system. Over to you, Ayan.
Thanks a lot, Vandana. So let me just go ahead and open up the system for you. So whatever we showed you in the slides as far as the story, we'll try and depict the whole story on the system. So project services has got a out of the box practice management dashboard, as you can see on the screen. Now the dashboards are highly configurable, as we stated in the slide as well, that dashboards can be made according to the requirements of an organization, and it's quite user friendly to define, because these charts, which are like, as you can see, it's like bar charts over here. You can define different kind of charts depending upon what suits you. So you can have pie charts, you can have histograms, you can have area charts, and you can have bar charts, stacked bar charts, or whatever you think is the best for you. And define that on the basis of certain list of records. So if you see over here we are talking about current month versus prior months, cost by month. So this is like this, it is actually comparing January 2017's cost for all projects in comparison to the previous 2 months data. And similarly, here it is like doing a comparison of margin for the projects for January 2017 against the previous 2 months. Similarly, total sales by month is like the total amount that is coming up from the estimated revenue of the opportunities around project-based opportunities. So these are certain dashboards which actually helps the project manager and key person of the organization to keep track of all the projects and the utilization and their costs and their revenue and the gap between the cost and revenue. So all that can be identified using simple pictorial dashboards over here. Now there's one more like active role utilization, which talks about the each of the roles that have been defined in the system for project tasks, and how each of the role is being utilized within the organization for all the projects that are active for the organization. So these dashboards are quite configurable, as we stated earlier. Moving on. So normally, a project can be created in two different ways. One, you can probably go through a proper sales cycle of lead and opportunity, and then convert that opportunity into a project for yourself. The other way is like you create a project directly, and you can define the project quotations and project contracts within the project without having any link to opportunities or leads. But what we will show you over here is a proper cycle that we depicted in our slides also. So here's a lead for us whose name is John Matthew. Now this particular lead has come up for doing some land surveying for his company. Now, so this particular project is going to have certain attributes that needs to be completed by the organization to whom this project is being granted. Apart from that, it's the normal sales cycle that we have been seeing across all the versions of our CRM, except for a few changes that has been done in Dynamics 365 about adding the stage-wise number of days that it has been or number of hours it has been active for. So that's one thing that has been recently been involved in Dynamics 365. However, that's something that we will depict in our other videos which covers sales module. So the lead is like similar as we have in all our Dynamics CRM versions. So it's like capturing certain details about the company and competitors and other details like marketing information and contact preferences. Once the lead is captured, there's one more important aspect that has recently been involved in Dynamics 365 is this type. Can you see this? Now this defines whether you want to have a lead which is either a work-based, which is project service oriented, or a service based, which is work order based, that is field service oriented, or an item based. So item based is something that we have always been seeing in all our previous years. So this type field actually allows you to create a project directly from a lead and then to an opportunity. So this is a very important factor. So whenever a lead is created, you need to choose the type as work based, which will allow you to convert this lead into an opportunity which is again project based, and then take it to the project. So once a lead is qualified, so I have already qualified the lead, I can see that the opportunity is created. So I'll cross out the lead over here, and here's the opportunity. So the opportunity, which is of course which was qualified from the lead, John Matthew, has got other further details which the account manager captures, and that is like the contract, the time frame, the currency which is already populated from your lead, and probability percentage. Now this is something that the account manager keeps a track of by identifying how much is the probability of winning this particular opportunity for the organization to get a project for the organization. So other than that, on the opportunity form, there are two more aspects that that you have been doing in normal sales cycle, and that is creating a project quotation, a quotation for an opportunity and a sales order for your opportunity. In project services opportunity, it changes a little bit. First of all, it changes the nomenclature. So it becomes a project quote instead of quote, and it becomes project contract instead of sales order. That's the difference it has, invoked in Dynamics 365 project services. So I'll scroll down on the project screen. It looks similar to the previous one like we had earlier. So here's the quote. So I have already created this quote on this particular opportunity. This particular quote, as normal, would invoke lines from your opportunity lines. And opportunity lines in project-based opportunity, there are two options. Either you can invoke not only project-based lines, which is like tasks for project, but you can also invoke product. So you can have two things which can be populated onto your quote. So let's open up the quote and let's look at how the quote looks like. So this is the project quote. So I'll open up the project quote. On the project quote, there are a few things that the account manager would take help from the project manager to do an estimation of the project. So what we would do is he would actually either ask the project manager or assign this project quote to the project manager and define tasks manually as quote lines, and then according to those quote lines that has been manually been defined by the project manager, the estimation can be done. The other way of doing it is, here's the project quote over here. So we can see that project. So I have already created this project quote. So if you go to project quote lines, which I was referring to just a few minutes back. So the project quote lines is nothing but the tasks that need to be completed within a particular project. Now there are two ways of defining this project quote lines. One, we can assign the quote to our project manager and let the project manager define those project quote lines, which are nothing but tasks, and define resources for each of the tasks, and manually. That's one way of doing it. The other way is defining a project over here, or picking up a project which is similar to a project that has already been completed, and the one that you want to do, and invoke project template, project quote lines, which is picked up from the project template and defines the time, the role, and whether chargeable or not, the cost of each of the role from the project template. So this is all part of system administrative settings. So once the project quote lines have been defined over here, all these project quote lines, using those using that project template, you just have to click on this import from project estimation. Can you see this button? When you click on this, these quote lines are automatically created. These quote lines are using the project template and already defined during the system administration settings, wherein it has picked up the roles, the start date and the end dates of this particular project, because you have already defined on your code when do you want to start that particular project. The quantity against each of the role, the sales price and the cost price is picked up from the resource costs, which is again part of your administrative settings, and depending upon that, it calculates each of the tasks cost as well as sales amount, right? So this is the sales amount and this is the cost amount, right? Once that has been done, the account manager has got the estimation. Now using this estimation, the account manager can choose to send this particular quote to our customer and get it reviewed before making revisions to this quote if he thinks he needs to do it. So when you do the, when the quote lines have been added, the system automatically calculates few things at the top. So it identifies whether this particular quotation is going to be in will have a profitable margin or not. It also defines whether the project is going to be completed within timeline or within budget or not, which you can also see over here. So the total chargeable cost is 54,560. The total revenue that is being generated is 80,200. So automatically the revenue margin has been calculated. So that's the cost and that's the revenue. And as far as whether, so I'll just show you how the charts look like, which talks about profitability analysis of the quote against and the cost against the revenue. So that's like cost against the revenue over time. So how much will we earn against the cost that we would have across the 3 months when this project is being completed. And similarly, amount by role. So you can see how much, so I can see the amount. I can probably see associated costs. So I can check that out. So each of the roles, how will this cost, how each of the roles would cost me across this particular project. So there are other options of picking up the charts from. These are nothing but again charts that has already been developed, designed, and I can add charts to it. It's simple configurations that we can define and have multiple charts other than what we already see over here. So I can actually see amount by role over time. So over the period of the project, what is each of the of the role is going to cost me over the period of time. So that you can define over here. Apart from that, there's one more thing that you can see, which is comparison to customer expectations. So there are some certain roll-up fields which you can use to see whether this particular project is going to finish within time or not, whether it is going to finish with within customers budget or not. So there are certain things that you do over here which automatically generates those charts for you, and I am not able to change these roll-up fields right now because I have already made this quote as one. So normally when you have not won the quote and it is in draft stage, you will be able to change these, you will be able to refresh these screens with this particular roll-up field and this particular roll-up field, which is automatically calculated on the basis of your estimate completion of your project template that you have used on your quote lines. Right? So that's how the project and the project that's how the project quote and the project quote lines look like. Once you have got the project quote in place and you have got the project quote 1, this particular quote automatically changes into the into a project contract. The project quote lines have been added. The project quote gives you all the details, and when we make the project quote as one, this particular project quote automatically converts into a project contract. Now to check out the project contract, we will have to go to the project, and then from there I can see the project contract that has been attached to that particular project. So what I will do is I'll go to that project that has already been created and open up that project project for you. So here's the project line. So I have got the project over here. Click on the project. So that's the project that has been created because I created the project using the project template while I was trying to do an estimation. So this particular project, as I can see, I have used a project template over here. This project template and other details have automatically been populated. The estimated start date and the end date, the estimated hours and the estimated cost. The actual start date and end date is added by the project manager. So on this project, under the sales tab, we have the project contract over here. So this project contract has got similar details like the project quote, except for the fact that on the project contract, the project manager who takes over the project can generate periodic milestones for payments. So that's payment milestones actually. So when you click on this particular button, apart from the project contract details that has automatically popped from project code, which is similar to project code, you have the payment milestone that gets populated over here. Now if you see that each of the project, each of these project milestones has got an invoice status attached to it. Now this is nothing but explains as to whether this particular milestone date has reached or not. Once this milestone date reaches, we can either make it, we can leave this particular line the status to be changed to ready for invoicing automatically or to be done by the project manager. So either of the two is a possibility. So coming back to the project contract, this project contract has got other details like what was the contracted amount, and so all these details are actually flowing from from your project code. This particular aspect, so these milestone, these milestones, how is this calculated by the system is based on three things. One is this particular invoice frequency. So this is again part of system administrative settings. The billing started, when do we want to start the billing the client from, and the third thing, which is on the project, and which I will show you right now. So when I go back to my project, and from there I will go to my project contract. So I was in project contract line right now. I'll go to the project contract line. So my project contract is, so you see the project contract is nothing but the amalgamation of order. So on the project contract, so the two fields that we saw on project contract lines, and this particular field, that is the requested delivery date. So there is a requested delivery date which the account manager will have to enter, which is here. Can you see this request delivery date? So depending upon the request delivery date and the billing date, the calculation is done is this way. The billing date, the first billing date would be the start of that particular bill start date, and the last would be before this particular date. So the bifurcation of bills are defined between these two dates. That's how it is done. And of course the frequency is also defined in the quote lines, which tells you whether you want bi-weekly or bi-monthly. Depending upon the frequency you choose, the payment milestone, payment milestones are defined by the system automatically. Now, so that's how the contract lines look like. Now coming back to the project, so let's go back to the project again. So I have got the project over here. So once the particular account manager has completed the quotation by taking the estimation from the project manager and sending it across to the client for reviewing, and once the account manager converts that particular quote into a project contract, and once those two steps have been completed, the project manager takes over. So project manager would take over and will pick up this particular project. So that's the project. So the project manager would now be able to complete each of the tasks of a project, which starts from creating a work breakdown structure. Now, because this particular project was created from a project template, the work breakdown structure is also defined by the system automatically for the project manager, and the project manager does not need to take the pain of creating that particular creating tasks as work breakdown structure manually. So we'll go to the work breakdown structure over here, and within work breakdown structure, so it's fetching the data from the project server right now. Within the project work breakdown structure, you have two things which are very important. One is, of course, the work breakdown structure over here, which is defined as per the tasks that were defined in the project template. And second is the roles that were defined in the project template for each of these tasks. And third is this particular Gantt chart. Now, this Gantt chart can be scaled according to the requirement of the project managers. Right now, the time scale is monthly. The project manager can choose to change that particular time scale according to his or her requirement. So I'll open up and I'll change the time scale over here. So if you see over here, the time scale is a year. I can change it to month. And if I scroll it a little bit on the left hand side to give you a better view of the screen, or so if you see this, I'll probably increase it a little bit more and make it full screen. So if you see, I can actually scroll it. So I can see the my times my time scale for the project as to starting, as to when is it starting and when is it ending. The best part about this is because each of the tasks that I have defined in my project template is having predecessor. So if I change any projects, if I move this particular task to say over here, let's assume this, I've changed it over here, automatically the rest of the following tasks will fall in line and change the dates accordingly for that particular project. So I'll just change it to here. I say yes, and you see everything is moved now, and it is now going back to the project server and saving the changes as per the new dates that you just moved your project lines. So that's how easy it is to move the whole project from a specific date. So of course you can also have only specific lines being, I can even reduce the time zone, the timeline for a particular task. So for develop of this, which is 2.3, if I reduce it to here, automatically the other tasks that are which are follow through after this particular task or changes dates accordingly. So it does not have a predecessor to this, so let me just probably change this one, which will change just a minute. So there you go. So the changes takes place automatically on your Gantt chart. And this is the best part about having the project services Gantt chart as well as the project tasks all in front of you of the project manager, who can easily identify what all needs to be done for any project and who are the roles that these particular tasks are to be completed by. One more thing that this project manager does from here on is generating a project team. So when he clicks on this particular screen, what happens is this, that it generates a project team, which I will show you now. So when I click on generate project team, it generates project team members. So that project team members, because I have not yet assigned to a specific resource, it automatically populates generic resource for this particular role. Now there are two ways of going about these generic resources to be booked for to be booked against a particular resource. I can either pick up, the project manager has the option of either doing a hard book against a particular resource by clicking on this line individually and defining each line to a particular resource, which is a named resource, and or he also has the option of submitting these project requirements to his resource manager by clicking on this submit request, and when he clicks on submit request, the requests are submitted to the requests have been submitted. So when I have submitted this request, as you can see over here, the resource manager is now able to use his or her ID to see which project has got a request that has been sent across. So we have these are the roles that are required for this particular project that we are looking at, that is land survey for Verizon. And now the resource manager, who also has an access to the project service automation, would log into his system and would click on this option called resource requests under project services. So when you click on resource request, the resource manager is able to see all those requests that has been given to him to be fulfilled as per the duration and the dates that have been defined over here, which is he clicks each one of them individually to identify which resource is required. So for the sake of support, I've already opened up the availability view. So this is how so whenever the person clicks on any of this resource request and clicks on find resources over here, this particular window opens up, which is called the availability view. Now this view helps the resource manager to identify what kind of who he is going to assign the tasks for this particular project and for how many dates and which dates. So if you see, it automatically picks up the filters from the service, from the resource requests, and that is like what kind of which organization unit it is going to be serviced by, which is the functional role that is required. So all that information is captured from the service, from those requirement requests, and using those it filters out the specific users that are available in the system who fits this particular filter criteria. Now the resource manager, looking at the availability view or calendar over here, can go ahead and choose any one of them and pick it up as to when are those dates that he would be required. So this is like weekly, so I can actually choose it at a daily basis and see which dates he would be required, and depending upon the dates that he's required for, he chooses those dates for the person called Sam Anderson over here. So he can also use this particular feature, and automatically he can be booked for these dates that he is required for. So I'll select. So what the resource manager can do is he can select the available resource from here and click on book. Automatically the resource that has been picked for giving to complete those tasks is able to see the task that has been assigned to him. And if you see over here, I'll open up that schedule board once again for you, for the sake of this is already completed, for the sake of your to show you how it behaves once a request have been submitted. So what it does, I'll have to change the filter criteria over to show you functional consultant. I'll change it over here and show you exactly how it has now shown you. So here you see. So if you see this particular, I'll just show you the function consultant. That would be, I guess, would be easier. So there you go, and I say apply. So he was required, so I'll put in a day, and he was required for 8 hours over here on the January 27th, 7 hours on my 30th January, and so on and so forth. So if you see, it has automatically booked only for those dates when this particular person is required, and assigns tasks, which is this task that has been defined for this particular project, and now Sam Anderson would be able to log in to his system using his ID and password to check out what all tasks have been assigned to him for which all projects. So that's how the resource manager completes the fulfillment of any resource requirements for all the projects from all the project managers. And once the submission has been completed, it automatically reduces those active resource requests because it has been completed now. So once a resource request has been completed, it shows as fulfilled, as you can see. So we just fulfilled one of them, so it has automatically become inactive and it is showing the status as fulfilled. So we just fulfilled this for the function consultant. So that's how the resource manager is able to track all the resource requirement requests and fulfill them for the project managers depending upon the availability of the resources. So now what's next? So the next step that So let's go back to the project manager screen and see how the project manager is able to see in the project team member screen, because till now before he submitted the requests, the team members showed as generic resource. So now when I come back to my, so this is the project manager, he goes to the project team members section within the project and checks out what's the, so here we see that the functional consultant Sam Anderson has been assigned for my project, which is going to be taking place between 26th January and 7th of April, and for 74 booked hours. So that means this particular person is now a part of my project team and is going to be working as a functional consultant for the project. So one particular resource can have multiple roles, and that is again part of system settings when we start the implementation, and each of the resource can have multiple functional multiple roles, and you can make one of those roles as the default role for the resource. So let's now open up Sam Anderson's system. So that's Sam Anderson. So that's Sam Anderson logged in over here. So when Sam Anderson logs in, he is able to see the similar project service automation screens, except for whatever security role he has been given, and he clicks on bookings and tasks. When he clicks on bookings and tasks, he is able to actually see the tasks that have been assigned to him. So the task that has been assigned to him was during the, so we'll just browse through the dates. So did you see? That's the, that's the date. So 26th of January is the date that he has been assigned. So he has to complete this one on the 27th to 31st of January, and this one on the 30th to 31st of January. So that's how he is able to see the tasks that has been assigned for him. So he has been assigned land survey for Verizon for 12 hours, out of which some of the hours have been assigned on 27. Some of them has been assigned to him on the 30th, 28th, 29th and 31st. So total, and from here what he needs to do is he needs to start completing the tasks that has been assigned to him. So what he will do is he will simply click on either clicks on completed over here, which changes this progress point to 100%, or can also manually type as 100%, so whatever is that he is comfortable with. And of course as soon as he marks it as completed, the remaining hours automatically becomes a 0. But if in case Sam Anderson feels that he has to enter in some more hours, he can always add that to over here. Automatically the progress percentage will have to be changed. So he adds, and he can, if there are certain remaining hours over here, then you will of course have to also define an expected completion date over here. So those two things go hand in hand. So let's assume that he has completed this particular task. He adds certain notes. So completed survey. Let's write that and clicks on save. As soon as he does that, his task gets saved. So this particular task has been completed for Sam Anderson. Now Sam Anderson has completed this task from between these dates. If you see this, 4 hours on 26th January and 27th January he booked for 8 hours. So now for these two dates he needs to ensure that he goes into his timesheet entries and enter his timesheets for these tasks that he has completed. So what he will do is go over here, he goes to the time entries, and on the time entry screen what he goes to 26th January, because that is the date when he completed 4 hours out of the total task, and rest of the 8 hours he'll fill it on 27th of January. So he goes to that section, so he clicks on next, and here on 26th of January he clicks on, and he enters duration as 4 hours and says it was a project task that he was doing. Enters the project name, so which was land survey of Verizon. Enters the project task, which was which was project kickoff, yeah, which was project kickoff. And as within the role of functional, so if he has got two more than few roles, he can always mention that. So he will be able to choose as to what role did he perform this particular task. You can choose that. Enter some comments. So completed the task for 4 hours. And clicks on save. So it moves into the draft stage, as you can see over here. Similarly, it goes into the 27th date and picks up the same particular project and the task completed, balance 8 hours of the task. Just adds certain comments, clicks on save. Now he has completed. So sorry, I have to change this to 8 hours. I have to change this to 8 hours. Sorry about that. So save it. So 4 hours on the 26th January and 8 hours on the 27th of January. Now these two timesheet entries have been submitted to his project manager, who would be able to see under project approvals and approve those timesheet entries. Apart from that, our function consultant Sam Anderson can also send across expense entries to send it across for approval to our project managers. So depending upon the time entries and the expenses that whatever he enters, these approvals will land up with the project manager, and then we'll have to ensure that he picks up each one of them one by one and click on submit. And say submit over here. So that's one done, and he picks up this one also. That's it. So the timesheet, once it has been submitted, and the expenses that he may have recorded and has been submitted, these approvals goes to the project manager, who in his own system would be able to see it under the project approvals. So let's go back to the project manager's screen now. So that's the project manager's screen, and within project services he will be able to see this project approvals section. So the project approvals shows him the timesheet entered by Sam Anderson and the comments against each of the tasks that Sam Anderson has submitted the timesheet for. So he may open up one by one each of the tasks, review them, and either make it has a choice of either approving it or rejecting it. So if everything is fine according to the project manager, he can simply help by approving this particular timesheet entry. So he can actually choose to complete each of the approvals in one go also by selecting number of records at the same time. So I'll go back to my project approval screen, click on refresh, and I will see I have only left with one. So I'll pick up that one as well. I'm not going inside that particular screen once again. I'm just clicking approve from here. And that's it. So all my project approvals are done. Once the time entries and the expenses, how do you see the expense approvals? Expense approvals show up over here in another view. So if any of the expense entries have been sent across by the project team members, the project manager is able to see those expense entries approval over here, and he can again choose to go through one by one or select all of them together and approve them. Now these expense entries, if in the project while being defined has been defined as to be billed to the customer, then those expense entries also goes into the actuals as well as the invoice for the customer. However, in case these are only to be billed internally, then those can be kept as internal entries only, and payout can take place for those approvals that has been done by the project manager for those expense entries. So what next? So once the project service and within the project services approval section, the project manager approves your timesheet entries as well as the expense entries. These details land up in the actuals of a project. So I'll go back to that project once again. So let me just go back to that project, open up that project once again that we were at. So we were at this particular project, Land Server Verizon. Within that project, you have an option of going to an associated view called actuals for the project. So I'll just go back to that particular, I'll go to that actual section. There you go. You click on actuals. And within that actuals, you'll be able to see, the time that has been applied for this particular project for 4 hours and 8 hours. So under which task ID, and what was the unit of measure, what is the total amount that would be billed to the customer in case it's part of if it's a T&M project. However, if it's just a fixed cost project, then these things does not matter as far as the invoicing is concerned for the customer. So that's how these time entry that has been approved by the project manager is captured under actuals. Let's look at how from here on what needs to be done within the project. So we have a finance team member as well. So the finance team member will also be able to check the certain attributes about billing a customer. Now to do that, he would need to have an access to the project service automation and access this particular section which is called project contract milestones. Now this can be done by our project manager also, or in conjunction with the finance member, whatever method the organization chooses, whether they want to do it within one individual or get it done by two different individuals while reviewing the things. So what we can do from here for generating an invoice for any customer, we need to have the project milestones which we saw when we were creating the project contract lines. So once those contract lines have been defined, these invoice lines, because it's a fixed cost project, these invoice lines show as not ready for invoicing, as you can see over here for these 3 lines. Can you see this? So when these 3 lines are not ready for invoicing, these 3 lines invoice would not be generated till we go ahead and select ready to invoice. So once I click on ready to invoice, the lines become ready for invoicing, which are these 3 lines that I just clicked on, 13th February, 20th February, 22nd February. And then I go ahead and go inside the project contract. Within the project contract, I am able to see a button called create invoice in the top. When I click on this, what will happen is it will create an invoice for the 3 lines that I clicked on ready for invoicing right now. So when I click on that, it creates an invoice, shows the amount which has already been invoiced. So we have already invoiced about 50,250 already, and these 3 lines were about 10,000 each. So 3 lines is equal to 30,075. So because we have already built 50,125 and it is now adding this contract line as 80,200. So what the person can do to ensure that it is correct or not, clicks on recalculate, which will refresh the screen and see that the total invoice amount would be not more than 80,200, which is the contractual amount. So this particular invoice would have only 80,200, and that invoice can then be sent across by the finance member for review. And once that particular invoice have been reviewed, that invoice can be clicked on confirm to get the invoice in place for the customer and sent across to the customer to pay up. So we click on confirm. The invoice status changes. And the project manager as well as the finance member is able to see the invoice of 80,200, which is the contractual agreement amount under invoices section over here. There you go. So this invoice has been created, and this invoice is now sent out to the customer to be paid by the client, and once that invoice have been paid, he can the finance member or the project manager can mark this particular invoice as paid. And that's how it is. So as soon as the the invoice is marked as paid, this particular invoice gets into a read-only mode, and of course is also shown as paid by the customer. So that's how a project service automation looks like. It was just an overview to showcase how each of the project team members, the project manager, the resource manager, the account manager who's actually getting the lead and the opportunity, as well as the finance member, is able to complete each own set of tasks and ensure that a project is completed within the time frame, and of course is also able to ensure that the details of the project is captured properly. And once the project has been while the project is being completed, the project manager has the visibility of the project. So I'll just show you before we end the the session. So I'll open up the project once again for you. I'll go back to the project screen and show you how the project manager is able to see the status, the project tracking, as well as the project estimation dashboards that are available within the system to see how the project performance is taking place. So he has those dashboards over here, and he's able to see how much percentage project has been completed, what is the cost consumption that has been. So these are on the basis of the timesheets that has been captured, and this is of course on the basis of the task that has been completed by completing the time entries and submitting them and then getting it approved. So that's how these graphs are automated, so it reaches, so we can see that. And apart from that, he also has the project tracking dashboard, which helps him to keep a track of the tasks and what all tasks have been completed, which are behind schedule, which are within the schedule. So that is something that he can use over here, because that particular this particular dashboard tells us as to whether they are within schedule or outside schedule. So can you see this? So this tells you which all tasks have been completed and what is the whether it is within schedule or outside schedule. Last but not the least is of course the project estimates, and this tells the the project manager as to what are the estimates for each of the roles that are involved in this particular project, and how each role is going to be utilized over the period of the project period, and how those are impacting the cost. So you can see that we can actually see it by a role or by category. So right now I'm able to see it by roles. I can define it by category because it's just the project tasks that will show you by time only. So in case you have other categories defined for a particular project, it can show you according to that. We can see the sales cost, the cost of the individuals. So we can check that as well. So project estimates, how much is going to be cost, and the effort hours that may be required from each of the role against the tasks that are applicable within the project. So that's how you can actually do an estimation. Uh, the project manager is able to ensure that all projects estimation and tracking is proper, so as to ensure the project implementations turn out profitable for the organization. The project players who are the team members of the project across the organization are on the same page, and this ensures that all of them feels well informed and play their critical role effectively as well as efficiently. So we would soon be back to showcase other functionalities of Dynamics 365, which enables organizations across domains to be efficient and can track performance across departments. So you can keep watching our space over here for future videos. Let's moving on ahead. Let's open up this session for our participants who may have some questions around the project service automation. So, Vandana, do we have any questions?
Yeah, we do have some questions coming through.
Right. So let's listen to them and let's try and answer them.
Yeah. So first one is from Kerry Wilson from Sydney, and it states that does the PSA allow linking of projects to MS projects and allow changes in the MS project also?
So I can understand that where that question is coming from. Yes, that's the the Microsoft project we have been using across all project organizations for quite a long time now, and absolutely, project service automation has got a built-in functionality to migrate the project to MS project add-in if the organization has a heavy usage of this existing application. The organization will just need to install the Microsoft Dynamics 365 project service automation add-in for Microsoft project, and then can easily take the full advantage of both the MS project that they have been using till date as well as project service automation simultaneously. Okay. I hope I have answered the question.
Yeah. So there's another query from Willis Butler from Melbourne.
Okay.
And it is like, does PSA project service automation allow existing projects to be imported and then follow through the remaining task in project service automation?
Yeah, so I can understand that. So in case you are implementing project service automation now, and you already have some projects that are that you are working with currently, it's simple like Dynamics CRM. We definitely have the project templates available as well for data import. So using that data import functionality, project service automation also allows bulk import of legacy data. So the data validation is of course a very important step because the organizations who are moving in from MS Project or other such tools to take care of their projects will have to ensure that before moving into more automated environments like project service automation, they ensure that the users do not feel the hassle of working on two different platforms simultaneously. So what they would always do is, when they are doing the implementation of project service automation, we as an implementation partner or anybody whom you work with should be able to help you out in getting the data imported from your using your bulk data import files into your project service automation.
Okay. The next one is from Lee Harvest from Adelaide. And it is, does the project service collaboration allow people with no license to project service automation access the documents and comment back on the same if OneNote is integrated with the project service automation? Is that possible?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So yes, you can. So the thing is like, you can definitely have your OneNote license being given to specific individuals within an organization, and those same set of users may not have an access to the project service automation, but their inputs are also important for a particular project. So those individuals who just have access to the MS tools, and if once the MS tools have been integrated with your project service automation, the project service automation users can collaborate using this OneNote facility within projects that has been created, and send across details to other members in the organization, and take back feedback, or get some details on the on the project, or on the document that has been shared about the project through OneNote. So yes, it is possible. So Vandana, do we have any more questions coming in through?
No, I think that is all as of now.
Right. So thanks a lot to all participants over here for all your questions. So and they were definitely very, very interesting ones. So if you have any more queries, or if you may have other questions that you think that we probably have not touched base during this particular webinar, please feel free to email us at info@dynamicsquare.com.au. Alternatively, you can also visit our website, which is mentioned over here, and you can get in touch with us. So I guess that's all about it from me.
Yeah, so with this we conclude today's webinar on project service automation. Our team will be doing another webinar very soon on other aspects of Dynamics 365, and we shall be sharing the meeting invites accordingly. Thanks for attending the webinar today. Thanks, Ayan.
Thanks a lot, Vandana. So thanks a lot, guys. Take care.